And Senator Ron Johnson joining us now from our nation's capital. Senator Johnson, thank you for joining us. I know this is a hectic day for everybody in Washington. First of all, give us in a nutshell your thoughts on what transpired today in the Senate.
Well, it was unfortunate that Senator Harry Reid didn't keep us in session over the weekend so that we could respond literally within an hour or two of the House passing the latest iteration of a continuing resolution. But he's playing politics with it, and that's unfortunate. But, you really need to understand what the root cause of this problem is. And it really dates back to when they passed a health care law under a totally partisan way, which has created this division that hasn't gone away. And then, of course, Senator Harry Reid hasn't passed an appropriation bill in the Senate in 2 years. And that's one of the primary functions of Congress. So this place is utterly dysfunctional. I really want Wisconsinites to be watching very carefully and really ask themselves the question, do you really want this place, this entity, this dysfunctional federal government to take over a larger share of our health care? I don't think that's a very good idea.
I think a lot of people would agree with your assessment that it's dysfunctional in Washington. Is there anything that can be done here by midnight tonight when this government shutdown basically takes effect? Do you see anything in terms of just getting a short-term fix done to get us through the next few days?
Well, I was asked if I would grant my consent to a unanimous consent request for just a 1 year or just a 1 week continuing resolution. I know the House proposed that. I think Senator Harry Reid just shot that thing down. Again, he must be looking at the polls. He must feel he has some kind of political advantage in forcing a shutdown. I don't want to play brinkmanship with the American economy. I don't care who's in the White House. I want to see the American economy succeed. Washington creates enough uncertainty for our economy and job creators and just American families. We don't want to heap on more uncertainty by playing this kind of brinkmanship. So I think it's unfortunate that Harry Reid's been playing this pretty irresponsibly.
And a lot of Americans look at this and, they say the Republicans say it's all politics and Democrats are saying the same thing. And Americans are very frustrated by what they see transpiring in Washington. Is there any chance if there is a shutdown, the government shutdown, as many people now feel there will be, do you have any idea how long this might go on? And is there anything on the horizon that might get us to a resolution here?
Well, again, I don't want to play brinkmanship. I don't want to shut down. I think the vast majority of members don't. So even if we have a short-term one, I think it's going to be pretty minimal, pretty short, and most Americans probably won't even feel it. That's what I'm hoping. But, for my part, what I've been doing is I've been reaching out to anybody who's willing to acknowledge the problem and work with me in good faith, including the White House. I've been one of that small group of Republican senators who have been working at the White House to define the problem, try and figure out where there's some areas of agreement in terms of how we can prioritize spending so we can, maybe make sure that we don't hollow out our military. But that's the whole point, is the fact that we don't pass appropriation bills where you actually do prioritize spending. Just like any family's got to do that. You can't spend money on everything. You actually have to spend money on the top priority items first. And we just don't have even that level of function where we're even passing appropriation bills.
And Senator, as far as the president's health care reform law is concerned, regardless of how it was passed, it is the law of the land now.
Right.
Do you maybe just, get the government thing taken care of in terms of avoiding a shutdown and deal with that later in your own, whether it be through elections or just having that discussion continue on the floor of the Senate and the House?
Well, I'll tell you, the House has been getting enough advice from senators, but certainly as I'm talking to House members, what I've been encouraging them is pass a continuing resolution that's at the Budget Control Act levels. I mean, that's a bill that President Obama signed, Harry Reid and 45 Democrat senators voted for. And the only thing I would attach to a CR at this point would be a rejection of the special treatment that President Obama granted members of Congress and their staff. I mean, I totally reject that. Congress should reject that in this continuing resolution. And I sure would like a repeal of the medical device tax. I mean, that is harming Americans. We are shipping jobs overseas because of that incredibly harmful tax, which, by the way, 34 Democrat senators joined Republicans in voting to repeal that during our budget process. So again, I think that'd be a bipartisan area of agreement. So again, my approach to things is figuring out what do you agree on. Don't worry about the disagreements right off the bat. Let's try and find areas of agreement. Let's at least do that work for the American people. I think they expect that.
And Senator Johnson, I know you went to Washington as an outsider looking to fix things and reform things. And I know you weren't really in line with Senator Cruz last week and the way he tried to go about things. How can you get both sides to get agreement? Because it is just so it's so polarizing, the behavior there in Washington.
Well, what I've done is I brought my problem-solving skills and my manufacturing skills looking for the root cause of problems. And I just ask people, what's the first step in any problem-solving program? It's admit you have a problem. And there are far too few people in Washington that are admitting the extent of the problem, and then of course you have to properly define it. If you don't define the problem properly, your solutions aren't going to match up to the extent of the problem. So that's what behind the scenes, quietly but diligently, working hard. I've been trying to forge that kind of consensus, get people to recognize the extent of the problem, and work with me in good faith to start looking at different options. You don't even have to say you totally support them, but it's a fiscal problem. We have to look at numbers. We have to measure the size of the problem. We also have to measure the size of potential solutions. So from my standpoint, I've tried to develop this 30-year projection by decade, decade 1, 2, and 3, and then a solutions menu where you can, without saying you necessarily support it, you can say, well, what would happen if we adjusted the age, or if we did some means testing, or if we took a look at all kinds of different options. You have to start dealing with real information if we're going to solve these problems. That's what I've been working hard to do with Democratic senators, House members, and quite honestly, the White House.
All right, Senator Johnson, hopefully you guys can agree on something very soon and take care of some of the gridlock.
I'm trying hard.
Yeah, we appreciate your time today.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.